Hello, my name is Randall Crouch. I've been a licensed mental health counselor in practice since 2005. I specialized in treating mood disorders, depression, trauma, helping in relationships, teaching communication, basic life skills, things like that. I'm proud dad of two young adults who have grown up to be exceptional adults. Both have great careers, great spouses, and families. So they were taught the stuff that I'm going to teach in this series. I've broken it into 4 parts. So over the next 4 weeks, you're going to see that this is going to come out to be broken down into like absorbable segments, if you will. I call the series Adulting 101, and it should give young adults the basic tools that they need to not only succeed in life, but really to thrive as an adult. And these are things that I just noticed in my career, that young adults would come in and just this really basic stuff that they were never taught. And as I've said in other segments, you don't know what you don't know. So I'm not, it's not a series that's meant to pick on you or belittle you or anything like that. It's to educate and help you be a better you, because that's the whole point of these series, is to educate and help. The overall course line is going to cover a variety of things. So we're going to talk about personal hygiene. We're going to talk about setting and achieving goals. We're going to talk about managing your household. We're going to talk about interpersonal communication and personal responsibility. In this first segment, we're going to cover the basics of personal hygiene. Now, some of you are going to be like, I take care of myself. I know how to smell good. I do this and that and the other. You may, but this is for the people who don't really know. And that's kind of the key. I spent 5 years working with people who suffered from severe and persistent mental illness. And many of those people didn't know basic activities of daily living. It's what we call ADLs. They didn't know that they were supposed to do the things that I'm teaching here. And once they're taught that, they do it, because they're like, okay, I know, now I know. So in this section, we're going to cover personal health, personal safety, and food safety basics. Personal health. The first thing that you have to know about personal health is hand hygiene. You got to make sure these things are clean. So we're going to wash your hands with soap and water after using the restroom every time. Boys, men, I don't care that you just took a leak. Wash your hands with soap and water. It's gross if you don't. You wash your hands before eating or preparing food, before and after sexual activity, this one's to the men especially, and before or after tending to wounds. Okay, keep your nails trimmed and clean. Again, ladies, keep your nails trimmed and clean, but mainly for the men, keep your nails trimmed and clean. There's so much bacteria that can get underneath our nails, and we can spread all sorts of nastiness. Whether we're cooking or during sexual activity or whatever. So that's why I press this pretty hard. The scrubbing action and foam in the soap helps to remove the bacteria and viruses. So you don't have to have like scalding hot water. You don't need antibacterial soap. You don't need anything special like that. Just good old-fashioned soap and water will help keep your hands clean and keep others from getting sick. Clothing and bedding. All right. This was a major pet peeve of mine when my son was a teenager, and he fortunately does not do this now, but he did it then. My suggestion again is to wash your sheets and bedding once a week, okay, and to just completely without fail do it. Pick a day and do it. My wife and I have Sunday. Sunday the bed gets stripped. We put new sheets and bedding on it, and that stuff gets washed. If you think about it from a biologic standpoint, okay, when you or your partner and or your pet are sleeping in the bed, you are shedding off hair, skin, dirt, grease, blood, urine, feces, among other things, okay? It's gross. If you don't wash your sheets regularly, you're sleeping in filth completely. All right. Change socks and underwear every day with clean socks and underwear. Again, can't stress that enough, because the crevice areas are the nasty places where bacteria builds up. That's what causes odor, body odor, is the bacteria. But it can also cause fungal infections. You can get jock itch, you can get athlete's foot, you can get ringworm, you can get things like that. So change your clothing, your undergarments out regularly. All right. Shower hygiene. All right. Showering is and I'm going to get feedback on this, I'm sure. Showering is a social construct more than anything else. You don't have to shower to have good health. There's been study after study that's proven that. We shower because we are being considerate of others around us, and we don't want to stink them out with our nasty bacteria smelling bodies. Okay. Dermatologists will tell you that you should rinse off in cool to warm water. You do not use harsh soaps or abrasives or scrubbers or anything like that. Okay. I personally recommend you soap up your pits, underarm, your groin, that stuff, your face, your belly button, behind your ears. Do that every time you shower, but don't overdo it. Again, you have to keep it in check. I've had clients that tell me, I shower like 4, 5, 6 times a day. It's really not healthy for your skin. Our skin has a microbiome on it that keeps the skin healthy, and it keeps us healthy. Your skin is your first defense to bacteria and viruses that are in the environment. So we want to have a good healthy skin. You want to take care of cuts and abrasions, but you don't want to damage your microbiome by stripping off the layers of the skin that are there and the oils and all that. You'll end up with dry skin. You can end up with all sorts of fungal infections again, and other things like that. All right, medical and dental. I did not do this when I was a young adult. I paid dearly for it by the time I was in my late 20s. I was not seeing the dentist regularly, and I'm going to start with the dentist because your dental health is very important. You need to go to the dentist twice a year, if for nothing else, to get your teeth cleaned and to get a checkup. Okay, unless your dentist tells you differently, you may need to go 4 times a year. You may need to go once. I don't know, but at least go twice until the dentist tells you something different. Get your teeth cleaned. Get your teeth checked up. Okay, get anything that you need taken care of. If you have a cavity or whatever, get it taken care of. Do not let those things grow and build and turn into major issues. Okay. One of the things that a lot of people don't know, especially young people, is you get an infection in your tooth. If that infection hits your bloodstream, it can become septic and it can kill you, dead as a doornail, just like that. Teeth, your oral hygiene is exceptionally important. The dentist will they clean your teeth, they check you for oral cancers, for other issues that you may have that you don't necessarily see going on. So twice a year, go. Even if you don't have insurance, find a dentist that has a decent price. It shouldn't be a whole lot of money. Twice a year, your health is worth it. Okay. Brush your teeth and floss twice a day. Dentists also recommend that you floss before you brush. Use fluoride toothpaste unless your dentist says otherwise, and don't rinse your mouth out after brushing your teeth. You want the fluoride to get in there and do its job. Sometimes the dentist will tell you just to brush and floss once a day. Listen to them when they say that, because some people have soft enamel, and you can brush the enamel off, and so they'll tell you just brush it lightly once a day. Okay, medical. See your doctor at least once a year. If you don't have a doctor, get one. You need a primary care physician. All right. They're going to do a blood panel on you every year. They're going to check your blood pressure, your blood sugar, they're going to do a whole CBC panel on your blood work just to make sure that everything is golden. Okay, I get it. You're in your 20s. You think you're healthy as a horse, and you may very well be. Just get that backed up with a doctor once a year. Tell the doctor what you're taking. Okay. I tell clients this. I always tell the clients this all the time. I don't care what you do in the sense that you do it. Okay. I don't care if you smoke marijuana. I don't care if you snort a line of cocaine. I don't care if you shoot heroin. It's not healthy. It's not recommended. But I don't care. I'm not picking up the phone and calling the cops. And neither is your doctor. Okay. They just need to know what you take, so they know if there's any interactions with what they may need to prescribe. All right. Or if you're having some kind of symptoms, they need to know what you take in case that is causing the symptoms. All right, some miscellaneous things. Change the toothbrush every 3 months. Put the lid down the toilet before you flush. Because it sends up the mist, and I know the mist still goes up even with the lid down, but not as bad. All right, take regular mental health days. I love your generation. You guys have picked up on that pretty easily, and you recognize that it's necessary. Don't take too many mental health days because you still need to go to work and keep your job and pay your bills. We'll talk about that later. Be kind to yourself and others. Just smile. Be joyful. In my last couple of videos, I talked about mindfulness and meditation, being in the moment. All very important things to helping manage your mood in an effective manner. Exercise 3 times a week. I encourage clients to find something they like to do, that their doctor has cleared them to do, and to do it 3 times a week for at least 20 minutes, if for nothing else, just to boost your own mental health. Okay? Eat nutritious foods, fresh or frozen fruit, fresh cuts of meat, lean meats if you eat meat, beans, legumes, etc. Eat that stuff. Avoid the highly processed junk that's out there, the ultra processed food, fast food. There are so many nasty things in this so-called food that don't necessarily hit you in your 20s, but will hit you in your late 30s and 40s. It will catch up to you, I promise. Walking billboard for it. I promise this stuff will get you. Type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, gastrointestinal distress issues, you name it. All of this stuff, Taco Bell, Burger King, McDonald's, when eaten in excess, can cause major health problems for people down the road. Personal safety. As a girl dad, I always took this as a badge of honor to teach my daughter how to be safe and responsible and aware. A few years ago, I had read an article about a girl who had gotten really upset because she'd gone out clubbing with her friends and she got really trashed and was doing all sorts of drugs and alcohol and whatnot. And she orders DoorDash, of all things, right? And she gets to the top step getting into her apartment and she passed out. And she was mad because the DoorDasher didn't leave the food on her and instead put her food at the door. Now, most of you guys may be laughing about that, like, yeah, I could see that. I wanted the food next to me. As a parent, I'm looking at that saying that is horrifying. This dasher could have done anything to her. Anyone else could have done things to her. She could have been kidnapped. She could have been raped. She could have been murdered. And it happens all the time to people who don't think twice about doing what they did. And that's why this is necessary for you really to understand. All right, what is personal safety? There are predatory people all over the world, even in the United States. They're everywhere. They are. And they look for opportunities to take someone that they see as vulnerable. All right? The police cannot be everywhere, and they cannot protect you all the time. So you have to learn situational awareness. You have to learn how to be responsible in your zone, to have a safe zone, to know what's going on. All right? You're responsible for your own well-being. You have to use logic instead of emotion when you're making these choices. Girls say, you want to go out clubbing? Yeah, I'd love to go out clubbing. What's our plan of action? Get together with them and say, okay, how are we going to do this? Are we going to have someone who's going to be the designated sober? Hopefully, yes. That way they can keep an eye on everything and you rotate. So everybody gets to have fun. Are we going to go home with strange people? Well, let's not. I don't advise it. Get to know them, meet them in a safe place, then down the road. Again, these things are for your safety. So you do it or you don't. It's up to you. But this is what I taught my kids. They both made it through their young adulthoods and are thriving. All right, situational awareness I talked about just briefly a minute ago. Situational awareness is understanding your surrounding. Being in the military, I also understand my outs, what are called outs. Where can I get out if something bad happens? What is my exit? And I don't have just one exit. I usually have 2 at least. So if that exit is blocked, I can go this one, okay? Use a buddy system. I talked about that before too. You want to hang out with trusted friends. I strongly encourage, if you're in a group of 3 or 4 or more people, that one of you remain sober and can be the one that's aware. Okay. Avoid overindulging in drugs and alcohol in public. If you're not in control of yourself, the predatory people see that. They will swoop in and take advantage. It happens all the time. Food safety basics. Okay. Again, I've had so many of you guys show up with food poisoning and these stories I get, and some of the things that some of you guys will do and eat. And again, it's because you don't know. Food safety basics means that we have to understand what the danger zone is for food. Bacteria will start to grow above 40 degrees Fahrenheit and below 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So we have this big range here that bacteria can grow and thrive. And we have to make sure that our food is properly temp checked. Okay. So I wrote in here, thaw frozen meat in the refrigerator the day before planning to use it. If you set frozen meat out, you take a chance that bacteria is going to build, especially in like a ground meat. It can build inside in the inner part of it and not on the outside, and you won't know it until you eat it. And if you set out like hamburgers, for example, and you're going to make hamburgers and that stuff is not cooked to 165 degrees, you're likely to get sick from it. Does it happen? Yeah. It doesn't happen often with a restaurant because they temp check everything, but it happens at home. So don't cross-contaminate raw meats with other foods. I personally keep a dedicated raw meat board that I know it's a white board with a black trim on it. It's for raw meat. My wife knows it's for raw meat. We don't use that for anything else other than raw meat, and then it gets sanitized after it gets used. Don't allow food to sit at room temperature for more than 2 hours. And I know that can happen. You order out, you get the takeout, you eat some of it, you throw it up on the countertop, you're doing whatever, playing video games or whatever, and you come back, you start to eat it again, it's been out. It's been out for more than 2 hours, you get sick, and you blame the restaurant. It necessarily wasn't the restaurant because it set out too fast. Reheat foods to 165 degrees. Which means you need to get a really good food thermometer, a digital food thermometer, and you need to use it regularly. Check in multiple spots, all right? Food safety basics, again, continued. Keep your kitchen clean and sanitized. Use sanitizing wipes to disinfect the area. Discard food products that have a foul smell or are questionable. Wash your hands regularly. When I cook, I wash my hands, I don't even know, 100 times. It's crazy how often I'm washing them. Thoroughly clean fruit and vegetables. Use a salad spinner, remove excess water if you need to. Do not rinse raw meat or eggs, okay? Can't stress this enough again. Do not rinse raw meat in particular, especially chicken. If you rinse it, you get micro splatters all over and you turn your kitchen into a bacterial laboratory. It's crazy. Chicken in particular, raw chicken, has to be treated like toxic waste because it is until it's cooked. All right. Chicken has high levels of salmonella, it can have listeria, it can have all these nasty bacteria on it. You have to make sure that you are doing this correctly. I know you're thinking, well, if I rinse it, I rinse the bacteria off. You do not. You just spread the bacteria across your kitchen. All right. So I put up here, wash cutting boards and knives with soap and hot water, cook poultry, rice, casseroles, and leftovers to 165 degrees. There is something called Chinese food syndrome that kills young adults every year. I can't tell you the number, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's fatal. And it's caused from eating leftover Chinese food, rice in particular, that was not reheated to 165 degrees. If I have leftover rice, not only will when I heat it up and then I stir it again and I heat it more and I'm checking with the food thermometer in multiple spots to make sure that it's at least 165 degrees, if not more. So to summarize in this segment, what we learned, when you take care of yourself first, you're selfish in order to be selfless. And I teach that to helpers as well, because a lot of times you get a helper, a teacher, a counselor, doctors, even nurses, whatever. We get so focused on others that sometimes we forget to actually take care of ourselves. And if you're not 100%, you can't give 100%. It's impossible. So you start each morning out with this self-diagnosis. How am I doing today? Is there anything that I need to be 100%? And you get that if you need it. Then you can go about helping the ones you love and that you care about. We talk about personal safety. Again, situational awareness, keep your environment in check, know what's around you, have your exits. The thing I didn't cover in that I do want to cover real quick is the phones. I don't have my phone in here, but these phones, and I see these kids, even here in Italy where I live, I see these kids walking down the road, nose in their phone. And it amazes me that they don't even flinch when the cars drive by. And these roads are really narrow, and Italians are known for their blatant speeding. So me, when I go walking, I don't have my phone with me. I don't have my nose on my phone. I am up, looking around, head up, looking, constantly scanning everything, listening for the cars, looking for the cars, looking for other people, looking for animals, looking for any threat that may be out there. Is it hypervigilance? To a point, yes, but that's how you avoid being a victim. You're aware of everything. All right. Finally, we talked about food safety. I put the CDC estimate in. 48 million people a year get sick from food. 128,000 are hospitalized. 3,000 die. Don't be any of those statistics. You can do it without. You just need a good food thermometer. Check your food. Be diligent about it, and you'll be good to go. I hope you enjoyed this segment. I encourage you to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next segment.